To this episode of Ask the Experts, and I'm joined by fellow Collate developer advocate Nick Acosta. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, Shawn, thanks for having me.
You and I have been on a parallel adventure here at Collate. We started at the same time, both as developer advocates. My focus is more on the Collate commercial product, and yours has been on the open source open metadata project and that community.
That's correct. Yeah, it's been exciting to see both aspects grow.
Totally. I mean, it's been explosive since we both got here. Probably because of
Say
us.
that.
I'll take credit. So I want to preface this conversation by letting folks know that if you're doing something with open metadata that you think might benefit others by sharing, please let Nick or I know in the open metadata Slack channel. The link to that will be in our video description. And I'd love to interview you and share your story. This is easy. It's a conversation, but you'd be surprised at how many people can benefit from the knowledge that you've put together. So with that, let's drop in with the broad question. What is the open metadata community?
I define the open metadata community as a group of people that are interested in learning more about their data environment or helping others learn more about their data environment by storing and analyzing data about their data and AI services, or storing and analyzing their metadata with an open source project called OpenMetadata.
That's where people come into Slack, maybe following on X or LinkedIn, YouTube, and just being involved with that community, maybe using the project themselves or maybe just keeping an eye on it. GitHub, that's another big one, right?
Yes.
So speaking of GitHub and all those different places, how do you measure whether or not the community is growing and successful?
Yeah, so we look at that in a number of different areas. Basically, when we want to make sure that as open metadata progresses, the new features our contributors are writing are bringing open metadata to new audiences and giving the existing community more value with those new features. So we use a tool called Common Room to do this. It
Yeah.
helps us identify where the open metadata community is growing in the various channels and signals that you mentioned, how it's growing. And we want to make sure that as that community grows, more people are using open metadata in production and that it becomes easier and more useful for new people to get into the tool and get it into production.
So in the monthly community meetups that we have, and we just crossed 4,000 people that are subscribed to that. Um, that's kind of where those vanity metrics at the beginning come in, kind of just giving people a pulse point of the growth and status of it.
Yeah, so we want to just make sure that those metrics are always growing and that there are new voices being represented as the project continues to develop.
I mean, I know for myself, having used many open source projects, you read the description, you're like, oh, cool, go check it out. And it's like, oh, 5 people are following it. It hasn't been updated in 3 years. Ah, dang it.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that those are growing over time, right? There's a lot
Yeah.
of, or at least for us, right? There's a lot of great open source projects that have those kind of flash pan moments where they really pick up a lot of
Yeah. It's like,
stars or
woot, woot.
a lot of action in a really short period of time. I think for an open metadata tool, where you're really looking for something like foundational, where that acceleration is picking up over time, and
That organic kind of ramping up. But like you say, especially with the AI projects, it gets covered on some, hacker news or something. It goes, "Whoop," and then everybody goes and looks, they start it, and then they forget about it and they walk away. Um,
yeah,
so
which excellent for those projects, but
not
not
for
our
us.
goals.
Yeah, we want it's robust. We want people to use it. We want it integrated. We want them to feel comfortable. It's stable, growing, and a fertile ecosystem. I suppose might be a way to describe it. So, what would you say are some of the favorite things you have about the community or its members, or kind of what have been some highlights for you?
Yeah, so for me, like you mentioned, we both just joined recently, joined together and building out the open metadata community, and I've really enjoyed meeting our community members since we got started and bringing together different voices on how they've used open metadata or how they're planning to use it, and to learn more about their organization's data. Like in our last community meetup, we had two of our colleagues present, one from the Bay Area, one from Mumbai, and they were joined by data engineers from Lagos and Osaka, right? So for me, it's
Yeah.
really exciting to be able to bring together people that are hungry to learn more about their data environment.
Yeah, the global disbursement is pretty wild to see. It's like, oh wow, you're using it like that there. That's awesome.
Exactly.
And kind of to the point at the beginning, of getting people to come and do these shorter form as opposed to the larger community, it allows them to not necessarily do a presentation, but talk about what they did, because it can get somebody who sees that can go, oh, I didn't realize that was possible. And that's kind of the idea, to open people's eyes as to what's possible.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's been super exciting to hear that, but I think that there's and share those stories. But I think there's a lot more stories to tell. Yeah, anyone that wants to reach out and share those with us, happy to give a platform to be able to help other people,
Exactly.
that are looking to just understand what's going on within their databases, within their data warehouses, things like that.
I guess it's along that line. What kind of patterns do you see in a successful open metadata implementation, and how can the community support a transition from adoption to production, POC, to going live with it?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think it's been early for me, but one of the great patterns that I think that I'm seeing people for these utilize for these implementations is really starting with a problem in mind,
Mhm.
other than a particular aspect of open metadata, right? There's a lot that you can do with open metadata, and it's great, as people start to pick up the tool and really dig into the features. But I think if you can start with an issue that you're trying to solve with your existing data environment and how
Yeah,
open metadata can alleviate that, that can go a long way in a successful implementation. There's
yeah,
one
yeah.
organization that comes to mind that had some reporting inconsistencies. They were using the same dashboarding service for over 10 years,
Hmm.
and they had built out over 18,000 dashboards throughout those 10 years. And it was difficult to tell, obviously, right? Like which ones are current, which ones are
Yeah,
correct, which ones are copies, which ones can we get rid of. So they really focused on the data discovery aspects of open metadata and implementing lineage to see which dashboards I could keep and which ones had grown stale. So
yeah.
I think for that implementation, focusing on a problem with your data environment, and if that problem maps to data discovery, data observability, or data governance, open metadata can help. So just starting there and taking open metadata from there.
Yeah, great point. This is always a challenge whenever you look at technology, like, oh, that's neat, but sort of in a vacuum or reading about it, it's in a vacuum. You want to have a problem to solve, or and then be able to apply it, as opposed to the other direction, like you mentioned. I think that would definitely lead to a more successful scenario. How is open metadata evolving to support all the AI stuff we mentioned earlier, and machine learning workflows, and kind of what are you seeing as to the new challenges that are being created with?
Yeah, so I think AI is really unlocking a lot of opportunity for all those features that I mentioned that are available in open metadata, just making it as easy as possible to execute them and execute them at scale, right? So I think one of the exciting new features that we recently added to open metadata has been our MCP server, and
Oh
it
yeah,
allows you to read from or write to open metadata directly from agents like Anthropic's Claude.
yeah,
And that's been really exciting, but a challenge for us because the open metadata's MCP server for some in our community, for myself included, this is our first time working with MCP servers. It's our first time working with AI agents, or
yeah,
particular in this way. So, fortunately for us, though, just as we're a growing open source project, this space is full with great open source projects that we're looking to partner with as open metadata and make it as easy as possible for all of us to understand, everything that is available to us now with these new AI and machine learning developments. So, as open metadata evolves and we add more AI tooling to it, I'm hoping to have, more partners in this space and more news to share about that really.
Awesome. And this is a great place where conversations with other people is so helpful because what we both discovered when MCP was put in on version 1.8 is you think differently, or you need to think differently. Like really kind of get out of the box because you're interacting with the software in a very different way. And it's very conversational, and in some cases you don't even really need to go into the user interface. You can just sit there and talk to it. Show me everything that's got an alert right now. Just ways to really simplify your work, but it does take changing your mindset in a
Mhm.
lot of ways and hearing what other people are doing. I know that unlocked a lot of use cases for me. Just a simple comment from a friend of mine, and suddenly, oh wow, I could do that. And then you suddenly start attacking it differently. As exciting as AI and MCP can be when it's actually useful as opposed to hype, catalogs in general are kind of seen as necessary but boring. And we're not talking about catalog in the sense of an iceberg catalog. That's starting to create a little confusion in the marketplace with all the catalogs going. But like, how is the community made metadata management more engaging as opposed to this kind of rote? Oh, I got to go do this.
Yeah, I think, it's not just data catalogs, but anything, data related can be dangerously close to creeping into really, boring territory. But I think for myself, I'm fortunate to be able to focus on the builders working with data. And I think being able to share those stories, like we were discussing earlier, and the impact that understanding, having a better understanding on your data can have on an organization, really focusing on that has been really exciting and engaging. So, like that example I brought up earlier about the organization that had 10 years with the same
Oh,
dashboarding
yeah.
service where they had 18,000 different dashboards. They had an analytics engineer within their organization named Erica who was able to leverage open metadata to delete over 90% of those dashboards. And that
Wow.
saved her organization thousands of dollars a month.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think being able to give developers that platform to share the great work that they're doing with these tools,
Yeah.
explain why it's important to her, and encourage them to not just do that, but take it further and see what else that they can do with this new knowledge of their data environments. That's been really exciting, and
Yeah.
again, we're hoping to do that as much as possible.
Well, like in her case, if she were to share this kind of experience, there's other people who are sitting there that have years of technical debt, and it gets to a point all these people have come and gone, and you simply don't know how you're going to deal with it. And like open metadata's lineage, you can at least see if something's in pipelines. Now it's
Hmm.
like, oh, we're only using 50 of these. All right, let's start pruning. It really allows you to see what's actively being used. So I guess I went off a little bit there, but I think it's an important point, for people to share their stories. They might think it's not interesting, but you'd be surprised. There could be that person that's sitting there going, how am I going to deal with this? They just got hired. It's a new organization. And they went, oh, yeah, look at this. And you went, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So, Nick, thank you so much for those insights into the open metadata community. And, if people aren't coming to the monthly meetups, it's a great opportunity to see what's just come out or what's coming out soon, and really be involved and share with other people. You're not alone out there. There's a lot, thousands and thousands of other people that you can interact with and get some solutions.
Yeah, definitely. And it's those all those thousands of people you mentioned, it's been great to meet some of them and see their drive and always looking to find out more or build something better or make something more efficient. So I think Open Metadata has been able to help a lot of people with that and just push their data environments further, understand them better, and then implement some of those changes that we discussed today. So we're happy to have you all and really excited to share more of those stories.
Absolutely. And with that, Nick, have a delightful weekend.
Beautiful. You too, Shawn. Thank you.